All right, thanks everyone for jumping on. I know a lot of you guys were probably at Coach Staley's game, so congrats to them on a great win today. Looking back at it, really proud of our guys. The mental toughness that they showed, I mean, it's so impressive to lose the lead like we did in the second half, have them score with limited time remaining, and then there was no panic on our sideline. Very businesslike, what we needed to do, and then our guys went right back down the field and did it. Just so proud of them, so awesome to see offensively. In a lot of ways, I think the key last night in so many ways was us in the red zone. We scored touchdowns for the most part and held them to field goals a lot of the time. The situational football, the 2-minute at the end of the half, 2-minute to win the game was huge. Did that well. Off defensively, I didn't think we were as good as we've been. We need to be better. Gave up had a 100-yard rusher last night that went for 150 yards. But, on a positive, we made them kick field goals in the red zone. We were dominant on third down. And in the first half, in sudden change situations, either after a turnover or on a couple of the fourth downs that we got stopped on, thought our defense did a great job. The first three of those, we held them to 3 points after a situation like that. So there's a lot to correct, but a lot to build on, but just so proud of our guys. We knew it was not going to be easy. You talk about 2 tough games in a row coming off the high of the A&M game. It's a letdown, trap-type game the very next week when you go to Nashville and we perform like we did against those guys. And then when you get nationally ranked and there's so much chatter about us in a positive way nationally last week, and then you've got a team coming in here in Missouri that's a really good football team that had won 18 out of their last 22 games and were 14-point underdogs. And we had all the motivational tactics teed up for Coach Drinkwitz and the Missouri staff that they needed against us, being 14-point underdogs, and after they had beaten us 5 years in a row. So we knew they would get their best shot. They played great. Missouri did. But our guys found a way to win. At the end, as looking at it as a staff, our offensive players of the game were Lenora Sellers, Nick Harbor, and Dale Vaughn Campbell. Our defensive players of the game were Nick Eman-Wari and Bam Scott. Thought Nick did a great job of just playing coverage, tackling. We knew we needed to contain Burden and Weiss, and they got their catches, I think 14 between them, but we limited their yards after contact. And one of the bigger plays in that game that nobody's talking about is right before the 2-minute drive before the half. Bam Scott makes a great play on, I think that was third down, where we had called a timeout. They ran like a little mesh concept, and Bam did a great job of not getting picked and then making a play on the ball to cause an incompletion and force them to punt and get the ball back for us to go down and score. Special teams player of the game was Hunter Rogers, doing a great job snapping. Our offensive scout player of the week was DJ Braswell. Our defensive scout player of the week was Isaiah McClary, and our special teams scout player of the week was Connor Cox. Injury-wise, the most significant from last night is Brady Hunt. He's going to miss the next 2 games for sure. Got a lower leg injury that was non-contact, unfortunately. We expect to have him back for the postseason, whatever that is, in December. Hate it for him, though. He's doing so much for us on offense and special teams. But that's the most significant one. Judge Collier, we feel like will be okay. And Michael Smith, we feel like he'll be okay as well. We'll have a better idea. They're getting looked at today and tomorrow, and we'll have a better idea on Tuesday as the week goes. But great win. Proud of our guys to finish SEC play like we did. We've accomplished so much in 10 games, and we've got 2 critical weeks left, starting Saturday against Wofford. Questions?
Hey, Shane, it's Dave. Obviously, very tough news about Brady. Do you what goes on with that tight end position now? You have Simon, you have Smith, but who else are maybe some guys that can come in and take that place?
Yeah, it's a good question. I just finished up a meeting with a tight end recruit that's here on his visit that I'd like to be able to keep around and have him play tight end this week because it's concerning. We do a lot of multiple tight end sets. All those guys are involved on special teams as well, and we have to look at what we're doing. But from a tight end standpoint, Maurice Brown has played. He was in there last night some as a fullback. You have Nick Elksness and you have Connor Cox are the, other guys. And the good news is all those guys have played in games. It's not like somebody hasn't been playing. Nick came in last night and did some things on special teams for us, which was good. And Connor played last season for us as a true freshman, and Mo's been one of our best special teams players. So we've got confidence in those guys. But, certainly we got to be smart with what we're doing personnel grouping-wise and things like that for sure.
Hey, Shane, it's Jack. You mentioned the defense earlier needing to be better. Throughout the game, I know you guys probably didn't have your fastball in that game, but you guys were able to make some big plays at the end of the game to kind of seal the deal. Just how much confidence does that give you that, maybe the defense didn't have its best game, but when time comes, they can step up and still make big plays?
Yeah, that's what it's all about. I mean, teams are going to move the ball. Teams are going to hit some plays on you and things like that. But you got to do a good job tackling, and we did that for the most part. And then when they get down in the red zone, you got to get stops. And we did a really good job of that. Getting stops in the red zone, hold on to field goals, making plays down there, just continue to make them put the ball down. And, we've got to generate more takeaways as well. We got that one takeaway at the end of the game last night, and we need to continue to take the ball away. But certainly they got stops when they needed to, and then our offense made plays when they need to. And both sides of the ball, as I alluded to, had each other's backs and picked each other up throughout the night. And Missouri did a good job. I mean, I think I told you guys in the press conference, they did a great job. Their offensive line's really talented. They're big and they can run, and they're perfect for what they do schematically on offense, running the outside zone. And then you've got a quarterback that's a veteran, gutty player, and he's throwing the two NFL receivers. So they're a challenge, and they had a nice plan against us and did a good job of keeping us off balance.
Hey Shane, it's Ben. Wanted to ask, that play that Campbell popped where it looked like he was coming across the middle, maybe on a dig, is that something you guys have had in the offense pretty consistently, or something you guys maybe tried to pop out? And just how effective is that when you can have, someone like him following Gage across the middle like that?
Yeah, I'd say it's something part of our offense that we've had. It's a great play for us as well. Anytime you can get a big body receiver like that coming across, that's an asset for sure. And what a play that Lenoris made on that play to be able, he was, to roll right or start out to his right, but then to be able to put his foot in the ground and throw back inside, very accurate throw to get a ball to, Camp running full speed was a heck of a play by Lenoris, in my opinion, and a great run by Camp as well with the ball in his hands.
Hey, Shane, it's Jordan. I think a couple of weeks ago there were only like 5 or 4 wide receivers that played, and this game it's Dale Von Campbell kind of comes out there and has a big game, and then the tight ends and Brady Hunt and Michael Smith have big catches. Have those guys who have kind of been, I guess for better word, under the radar the last couple of weeks, did they start practicing better, or was it the injuries that forced them to play and you guys trusted them? I guess what's it been like the last couple of weeks with those guys?
Yeah, I'd say it starts in practice, Jordan. Certainly with Camp, he I don't know if he had in my mind he wasn't great the week of the Vanderbilt game, and practice matters. And I know you guys think that we just put together here's what the depth chart is and here's the roles the week of the first game, and then they never change. Well, they change, and they change every week, and you got to practice well. We got a lot of competition at every position, and that receiver room is a room where I don't know if we don't have necessarily an Xavier Leggett from last season. We've got a bunch of really good guys in that room, and they all can, do multiple things, and practice matters. That we don't sit there and say, okay, we know that every single week these 4 are going to be out there. Well, no, we got more depth than we had last season, and the guys that are going to be out there are the ones that practice the best. And it's not just catching the ball; it's run blocking and everything else that we ask our receivers to do. So, everybody's got to be ready. There's no question about it. And if you practice well and you have the right frame of mind about yourself, then you're going to get an opportunity. And if you don't, then you won't. And we got other guys we can put in there.
Hey, Shane, now that you guys are through,
go ahead.
Okay, Shane, now that you guys are through the SEC portion of your schedule, what do you feel like these 8 games say about your team? How do you like the progress, offense from where it started to where it's finished these last few weeks, and same with the defense? How do you feel like those 8 games? How do you feel like they've progressed on that side of the ball as well?
Yeah, I would say we've progressed very much like you, Hale, and your ability to mute yourself after answering a question. Early in the season, we were struggling with that, bud. And you're like on point. Like you got that thing muted before you even finish answering the question. So props to you, buddy. And I think our offense and defense has really progressed. There's no question about it. I mean, we talk all the time, Hale, about being a team that gets better as the season goes, and we have in all 3 phases, in my opinion. And we're playing at a really high level in a lot of ways. We also know that it's a fine line, and every week's a battle. But to see us, continue to just, specifically offensively, we've gotten better, being a team that's able to execute screens. I mean, that's 2 weeks in a row that we've thrown a screen pass for a touchdown, and I couldn't tell you the last time we threw a screen for a touchdown, and we've done it 2 weeks in a row. Now, have we arrived? No. We tried one later in the game in the fourth quarter on a 3rd down, and we got the crap kicked out of us, and it was a no gain, I think, over there on our sideline. So, it's areas where we've improved, but we have to continue to get better at in a lot of those areas. But offensively, defensively, special teams, there's no question. You go back to our first SEC game against Kentucky to where we are now. We've made strides, but we've got a lot that we can continue to get better at also.
Hey Shane, it's Alan. Josiah Thompson was probable most of the week, didn't end up going yesterday. What's his status? And I guess to that point, what was your evaluation of how Tree Babalade played yesterday?
Yeah, Josiah was available last night. We just thought that in the best interest of him and the team, it was to go with Tree. Tree had practiced more last week than Josiah was. Josiah had. Josiah was available, though. We just chose not to play him, but he was there if we needed him. I thought Tree did a good job. I thought overall the protection last night was really, really good. And Tree was good. He was good out there at the point of attack in the run game, and I thought he was very solid in the passing game as well.
Hey Shane, I just wanted to ask you. Obviously, college football's in this transfer era, and with that, a lot of people refer maybe these guys as free agents. Some people derisively maybe mercenaries. And you have a number of transfers who I guess it seems like they have a lot of buy-in, whether it's Rocket, fighting through like 6 tackles at the end of that game, or Campbell sticking with it even when his role maybe isn't what he wanted. When you're looking in the portal, is there a way to kind of evaluate guys and their personalities and the potential for that buy-in, or is that more they get on campus and what you guys do kind of builds that culture? Is there kind of a way to look ahead at that?
No, there is. It's a challenge, Ben, because it happens so fast with the portal. High school guys, we're able to recruit those guys for multiple years. Someone in the portal, they pop in the portal and they immediately got 50 schools that are trying to get them in on a visit. And you ain't got a lot of time to do the research in the background. But yes, there is, whether it's if you have a relationship with the coach at the school the guy's coming from, we can reach out to the school where they came from, or you you call the high school coach if you've got familiarity with the high school coach. And then, you get them in on a visit, and yes, it's a recruiting visit, but it's also very much like an NFL free agent visit too. They know what they're looking for, and you've got to get them around people and see if they're a fit for your program. And we do that. I mean, we'll have guys in here on visits, and at the end of the visit, we'll talk as a staff about whether or not this guy is a fit. And we really try and dig deep into each person. And I mean, there have been guys that I've had in my office, potential transfers on visits, and I've walked out of that meeting with them and immediately told the coaches, we don't need to take this guy. I don't think he's going to fit what we're about, or this guy's priorities are not what they need to be, and let him go somewhere else. And we've had that happen many a time. So it just, at the end of the day, get great people in your program that are about the right stuff. And we've been able to do that for the most part.
Hey, Shane, it's Jordan again. I know it's been a couple of years that you've had to deal with this, but what are the conversations like this week about talking to some of the guys who are kind of seniors but have a year of eligibility left, about walking or going through the whole senior thing? Do those conversations happen in the off season? Do they happen this week? What's that process like for you guys?
Yes, it's some in the off season. In that, you have a general idea, hey, man, this could be your last year, or that, you've got another year after this as well. And so that's my knowledge. I mean, there's some guys that have another year after this that I didn't even realize. And I'm like, holy smokes, like, this guy's got another year of eligibility, and he does. And so some of those, we have a general idea going into the season. But actually, to be specific, Jordan, we started having, or we more specifically had those conversations last week in our staff meeting last Thursday. We gave the coaches a list of all the players that are seniors that are going to participate in senior night ceremonies this week, because it is their last home game ever. They can't come back. And then the list of guys that are seniors and have another year of eligibility. And we had each position coach or myself just have conversations with those players that have another year about where they are. And they don't have to tell us like 100% right now. They can make decisions. To carry on Joyner, I think he went through senior night in 2022 and 2023 because he wasn't really sure. And that's fine. But we started having kind of those conversations last week. And then I got an updated list today of guys that have another year that are planning to come back, and I think that's great. I'd welcome all those guys back that want to come back, and I think it's it's a testament to what we're doing in this program that so many of these guys want to come back for another year that have availability left.
Hey, Shane, it's Phil Kornblut. If a member of the CFP selection committee was on this phone call, what would be your best argument right now about picking the Gamecocks for the playoffs?
I think there's plenty of time for that, Phil, and I'm not trying to dodge the question, but, right now our focus needs to be on Wofford and then Clemson after that, because if we don't take care of business these next 2 weeks, it doesn't matter what I say right now, politicking. If we're able to handle our business the next 2 weeks, and which is we're going to need to play well both weeks to win the football, to have a chance to win those games, and there'll be plenty of talk for that after that as well. Do you have another one, Hale?
Phil beat me to the punch. Appreciate the compliment earlier. Thanks.
Oh, absolutely. So impressed with your with the strides you've made.
Hey, Shane, I did want to ask real quick about the final drive after you guys scored on the Rocket touchdown. I think there's 15 seconds left. What's kind of the approach you guys take on defense? Is it just avoiding, trying to prevent the long, deep pass, or what is kind of the mindset in that situation?
Yeah, great question. It's something that, Clayton always kind of walks through with the defense on Fridays. We do a walkthrough on Fridays, and that's really the last thing he covers is the end of the game. And we have different ways of playing it as well, coverage-wise, and more of a prevent type play. And we tweaked it a little bit, not tweaked it, but we were multiple in that situation last night. The first thing is after you score, you're thinking about the kickoff. Do you kick it deep and try and kick it into the end zone where they don't get a return? Do you squib it down there where it, prevents their ability to get a return a little bit, but it also takes time off the clock? So that was the first conversation that Joe D and I were having. And then in regards to Clayton and myself, along with the rest of the defensive staff, we were talking about, one, how we wanted to play it, and we knew we wanted to be in some sort of prevent type thing, but there were two different things you're thinking about. One, I believe they had a timeout still at that point, if I'm not mistaken, so they could, hit. They had time for 1 or 2 plays, 3 plays maybe, in other words, where they could hit a chunk play. It's not like you're protecting the end zone on the first play with 15 seconds left or whatever it was. They could hit a chunk play across the middle or down the sideline, call timeout, and then throw it to the end zone. So you're talking about that, but then you're also talking about, particularly when you get to the last play, that if they do catch the ball in bounds, that they're going to keep the ball moving and lateraling it and not getting tackled and all that as well. So we were talking about how we wanted to play that also, so it's we did a good job. It's a little bit different than the Texas A&M game in 2022 where they had the ball at midfield and they could reach the end zone. This is a situation where, they had to throw to the end zone, but they weren't in position to throw to the end zone yet. So there's a lot of different things that you got to be discussing right there to, prevent to win the game.